Many years ago, I read a book, I'm not a big reader, but I read a book called Illusions. And I remembered and used it all my life that everything in life that happens, you can either learn something from it or have fun. When Carol passed away, I mentioned this to Robert, who was so good to advise us about it. I realized that my misappropriate use of energy, I had a sense of what a beautiful, wonderful person she was. I did not get to know her. And that shame on me, because I had this sense of her inner beauty and stuff, and my ego-based life around this kind of performance, I didn't spend the time to find out. I learned a very valuable lesson, thank you. Anyhow, on the other hand, many of us in this room would probably have events in our lives that remember exactly what you were doing, where you were. I have 5. I'm a lot older than most of you. Not counting my birth, which I don't remember, but it was December 7th, and many of you may not have remembered it. I remember where I was coming home with a couple of my friends from a movie. My mother told me about it. November 22nd, 1963, JFK assassination. I was being audited in Baltimore. I just returned from Vietnam that year. I was being audited. I had been in HMX that year, and the Secret Service kicked me out, and they were supposed to be protecting my president that day, but there's a little irony there. But I remember, and they sent us all home from the audit. And then, of course, there was 2 days of my life. That was November 9th, 1970, when I was about ready to take my life. At the end of my terror and drinking and alcoholism, I remember it vividly, where I was and what I was doing. The following day, I remember going to my first AA meeting. I've not had a drink since. Vivid memories. And then, of course, there's 9/11. We all remember that, where you were, and that's what this is about. I've done a lot of research. I'm convinced it was a great injustice, and because of that, any great injustice, no one person can do everything, but everyone can do something, and this is what I've done. I've written this poem. Hey Grandpa, where were you on 9/11? How was it at school with your mom? I remember it well. I helped calm your mom down, I helped calm some of the people down, went home, called the Marine Corps base, see if they needed help. My daughter's coming in by train.
You want to run together now? And then you can do it again? I'm on film, doesn't matter, I can do it again.
I'm sorry.
Go pick her up and then
No, that's not her. I didn't turn my phone off, I apologize. All right, where was I? I told my granddaughter, where was I? Didn't you see those aluminum thin planes go right through those steel buildings? Yes, I did, sweetheart. Didn't you see those steel buildings collapse just like buildings you have seen deliberately brought down by demolitions? Yes, I did, sweetheart. Didn't you see and know about building number 7? That wasn't even hit by an airplane, yet it collapsed in 6 seconds, just like buildings you have seen deliberately brought down by planned demolitions. Yes, I did, sweetheart. Didn't you see the film of the owner admitting that they decided to pull it? Isn't that the demolition term for exploding the demolitions when you're bringing down a building? Yes, it is, sweetheart. Did you know, Grandpa, that in the entire history of steel buildings, only 3 buildings have ever collapsed because of fire? And all 3 happened on the same day and were owned by the same man. He was a smart man, too, because he had recently bought those buildings and he leased them, and he made sure they were covered by terrorist attacks and double indemnity. He also had smart lawyers, Grandpa, and because there were 2 airplane attacks, he wanted to double the $3.5 billion that he had insured the buildings for. But the court didn't give him that $7 billion that he wanted. They only awarded him $4.577 billion. Did you know, yes, I did know that, sweetheart. Did you know, Grandpa, that some of the passengers and crew members on these 3 of the hijacked airplanes called family members and friends to tell them they were being hijacked? Did you even hear some of those conversations? They put them out to the public later. Yes, I heard them, sweetheart. Did you know, Grandpa, that it's a fact that those cell phones couldn't possibly work at those altitudes and airspeeds? Yes, I did, sweetheart. Did you know, Grandpa, that the 4 aircraft that were hijacked were two 757s, two 767s, and hundreds of pilots, many experienced in flying these same aircraft, testify not only that they do not believe what was reported, it's actually impossible. Yes, I did, sweetheart. Did you know, Grandpa, that one of those planes flew into the Pentagon, but it hardly could find any aircraft parts after the crash? They couldn't even find either of the two-ton engines that plane supposedly had. Yes, I did, sweetheart. Did you know, Grandpa, that the people at the Pentagon were very lucky? In all that crowded building, the plane hit the only unoccupied portion of the building. Otherwise, thousands could have died. That portion that was hit had just been renovated. The only office that had returned was the Army's System and Resource Office that tragically, 34 of the 65 workers were killed. They were mostly accountants, bookkeepers, and budget analysis. This was tragic because it happened only a day after Donald Rumsfeld had announced on September 10th that the DOD couldn't track $2 trillion. Yes, I knew that, sweetheart. Grandpa, did you know there are many more unanswered questions? Did you know, Grandpa, that 9/11 Commission didn't really deal with any of these issues? Yes, I did, sweetheart. Grandpa, you know this could have been all done by, this couldn't have been done by 19 Arabs with box cutters, don't you? Devoted Muslims, some drinking alcohol, snorting coke, and enjoying the company of pink-haired lap dancers? Yes, I knew about that, sweetheart. Grandpa, you know the kind of world I live in because of 9/11? All of us live in. America and the whole world. Yes, I know, sweetheart. Why haven't they punished all those bad people who caused 9/11? They're still walking around free, many of them in positions of power. I don't know, sweetheart. Then, Grandpa, can I ask you a question? Certainly, sweetheart. Why the fuck don't you do anything? Why hadn't anybody done anything about this? I don't know, sweetheart. Grandpa, please don't call me sweetheart.